Commodore Tarriela is still calling out China's supposed disinformation tactics. At a recent forum, the Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson declared Beijing will be closely watching the Philippine election in 2028. Mobile journalist Arles Delos Santos has this report.
Just a disclaimer, that caricature is not something that I made. I have to cover the face, otherwise there will be another diplomatic protest.
Amidst the recent exchanges of social media posts with the Chinese embassy, PCG spokesperson Tarriela remains unfazed as he highlights the role of the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine Coast Guard in asserting our rights in the West Philippine Sea. In a forum organized by Strat-Based Institute, Tarriela pointed out China's alleged disinformation tactics to position him as the aggressor and China as the victim. This, he believes, is part of Beijing's broader foreign information manipulation and interference, or FIMI. That is after he used a caricature containing the face of Chinese President Xi Jinping, with the latter calling it a violation of China's political dignity and blatant political provocation.
This tactic aligns with FIMI strategies that target critics through harassment and character assassination, such as online bot networks amplifying attacks on individuals like Philippine officials who expose maritime aggression.
Tarriela also listed ways on how China will combat the Marcos administration's transparency as already institutionalized and inculcated into the public's awareness when it comes to the West Philippine Sea. He claims Beijing will be closely watching, wary of who will become the next president of the Philippines amid the maritime row. Tarriela says the Chinese embassy has been pouring extra effort to silence him so as to convince the national government to limit the discourse on the WPS via the Department of Foreign Affairs. China would not want the Army and the Coast Guard involved.
Obviously, anybody whom they are really betting to be the next president is somebody who's not going to stand up for our rights, because it will be on their disadvantage if the next president will continue what President Marcos has been doing so far, exposing Chinese aggression.
Meanwhile, Captain Marisa Martinez of the Philippine Navy highlighted the operating environment of FIMI in the Philippines, where the social media platforms are the primary battlegrounds, calling a whole-of-society response, including coordination with private entities and social media platforms to address the challenges, especially as the 2028 presidential election looms close.
We have to protect the integrity of our information environment, and the only way to do that is to come up with TTPs also. So one is education, one is regulation, regulating also the platforms that use that gives out information. We should also be able to make them accountable also.
Also present in a two-day Strat-based conference are key stakeholders from the government, the private sector, academia, civil society, and the international community. The aim: to address the escalating cyber threats and develop strategies to protect critical infrastructure and democratic processes. Countries like Canada say they can learn from the Philippines as they advance cybersecurity and democratic resilience in the Indo-Pacific. Also present were representatives from Malaysia, Japan, and Palau. Despite the intimidation, Tarriela said there are no orders from the palace to tone down or minimize his media presence, adding he wants to forward transparency and ensure Filipinos do not forget the public officials who surrendered our sovereignty rights in the West Philippine Sea. Kapatid Arles Delos Santos, we are One News.